What happened? We were sleeping. That's what happened. And I'm eating my dinner. Why and how did American businesses that we invested in, that we trusted, that became American iconic household names, are suddenly dictating to us morals? Or should I say lack of morals? Why? Harley Davidson and Indian motorcycles when people think of Harley, they think of a macho, bearded biker guy. Nobody thinks about trannies. Target, good old Dayton Hudson Corporation, based out of Minneapolis, Minnesota, don't you know? I never liked Target. I was one of those children that was dragged through Del Amo. At one time, that was America's largest, I don't know if it was shopping center or mall. But it's been beat by since then. That store, Target, is no different than Walmart, no different than Comcast. They dominate. Target sells boring clothing. I have no interest in going in there. I've never been a fan of corporate spackies. That is my term for the kind of people that run these businesses. And I just said it the other day, and I'm going to say it again. Yes, I'm eating, and I apologize, but I had something to say, and I don't do things the way professionals do things. I spent all day in my yard mowing, trimming out trees with vines that thick that it's snaked around, loaded with poison ivy. Oh yeah, that was fun. Cleaning up a mess. But I never was into Target. I'm not into big business. I go there because it's where you go to get your stuff. I go to Walmart to get my stuff. That's it. I don't care for Walmart. Every single one of these companies are greedy bastards. Every one of them. Whenever you hear the word corporate, you can put evil as a definition of it. People in management, people in corporate America do not think the way I think. To be in that kind of a business, you have to have a fucked up brain. You have to not care about people's feelings. You have to have an ego that doesn't quit. And it's all about you climbing that corporate ladder in a boring, big box world. I don't like corporate America. I don't like suits and tie people. I don't trust them. I've never had a reason to trust people in suits and ties. They're evil. And I say that because I have had plenty of criticism leveled at me over all the years because I don't dress up. I take a t-shirt and cut the neck out of it. And people just like, what is this guy doing? Being myself. Corporate America and the clothing industry does not cater to me at all. I want shirts designed like the Roman togas. where it's underneath the underarm on one side and covers the shoulder on the other. Do they make those? Nope. I like cotton shirts. I'm going to the stores. They're getting harder and harder to find cotton. They're making nothing but polyester mix. If any of you know anything about polyester, guys, you sweat that shirt. It don't matter if you got deodorant on. It don't matter if you've taken a bath or a shower. The polyester is going to be rank and stank. The industry, not the consumer. The industry is telling you what to wear, what to drive. Look at what they did to pickup trucks. Some geeks got in the design department and threw up. And they push it so much they get you used to it. You buy an expensive Silverado, all this cab, and a little bitty bed. Now, for somebody who hauls sheetrock, 2x4s, and CDX plywood, what good is that little half-assed bed going to do me? And you see contractors zooming around anywhere America in these stumpy trucks with stuff extended way up over the tailgate, run through the back window. Laughable. You want a big bed pickup? You're going to pay for it. You're going to pay. Welcome to the new world of crazy. Target pushes clothing that they want you to wear. Now they're pushing girl clothing for boys. Why are corporations encouraging inappropriate stuff for children? Sexually based stuff for children. Why are they all of a sudden showing up doing this? There's supposedly some news that the State Department has ordered businesses, and Biden's fascinated with this. Transgender. What is the percentage of actual transgender in this damn country? I doubt that it's even 10%. We already saw Jeffrey Epstein, Max Lane Giswell. He did not commit suicide. I don't believe that for a minute. Just like Vince Foster's death. There's corruption in Washington. Rumor has it that Bill Gates was involved in that. A rumor going around is that's why Melinda divorced him. I don't think either one of them are thrilling people. I can't imagine them finding passion and excitement being married to each other, but hey, that's just my take. You know, the Democrats were saying years ago that porn objectifies women. And now Democrat women, they don't have a problem with prostitutes or hookers. They call them working girls. They ain't working. That's BS. Women want equality. Why do we got to pay a woman for sex, but they don't have to pay us? Just saying. Did you see was it Carolina, the city bus driver, black man? and a black young guy gets up and starts running his mouth at him, he asked him if he could stop in between a stop. He said, I can't do that. Then he asked the kid to get behind the yellow standee line, which that's legit. Kid started running his mouth and pulled out a damn pistol and came over that line. And that driver pulled out a pistol of his own and fired at him. And the white guy who's the CEO or the head up there in this transit, no one's allowed to bring a gun on the bus. Oh, yeah. That worked, didn't it? The kid brought a gun. A writer brought a gun, but you can tell me your employee can't. If that driver didn't have a gun on him, he would have been dead. This is what professional America tells you to do. Well, now, fuck you. Corporate assholes in suits and ties that's never sat in a bus driver's seat. Doesn't really know what goes on a city bus and the kind of people that ride it. There's all kinds, but there's a lot of dangerous, scary ones, like that kid. And this stuff angers me. Corporate America is evil. They don't have a conscience. They don't have a soul. They're blood-sucking leeches trying to drain you of all of your hard-earned money. I don't care if it's a successful owner of a furniture store. They're all the fucking same. They got ego. They're all about money and greed. I don't get along with people like that. They look down on a guy like me. But now, these guys have become the devil incarnate. They're making massive profits on wokeism. But wait, go woke, go broke. Budweiser lost what, $17 billion? You think that that's stopping anybody? Y'all remember what Trudeau up in Canada did with the truckers and the GoFundMe? Trudeau stole their money. I'm still waiting for that at the Canadian Supreme Court for them to weigh in on that, if they'll even get that far. Biden is an asshole. So is AOC. So is Ilhan Omar. So are most of the Democrats on Capitol Hill. They're assholes. They don't care about how much our prices have gone up. They don't give a shit because they're making goo-gobs of money. They're dictating to these corporations, you will not discriminate against trans. I have a friend, African-American female, went to dinner one night. She was telling me in her workplace she went in the bathroom and a guy that transed over to a girl older than me, I mean, not a good-looking guy and he's not a pretty girl. He's fugly. I know that's not nice, but that's the truth. Goes in the woman's bathroom for the first time. Stands by the sink leaning against the wall and's got panty liner and women feminine products for your vagina, coochie, and toys laid out on the counter. I said, what did you think about this? She goes, I felt very uncomfortable. He'd always use the other bathroom where he could shut the door and it was private and he could lock it. If you call that person a sir, you can get in trouble. She told me he's gotten people fired. See if I can pull it up. See if we can find this.
And our Morgan friend says CATS leaders released that video this afternoon. The driver has been fired and the passenger is in jail. Queen City News reporter Will Lewis is in the studio with new details of what led to that shooting. Will, this video is pretty shocking.
It really is, Morgan, and we've watched this video several times since it was released. The bus driver shoots 3 different times. Once in front of the bus, then again at the in the aisle of the bus, and then once again outside of the bus. And it was all caught on tape. It took place around 11:15 in the morning on May 18th near the Premium Outlet Mall.
Let's stop. What I didn't show you was those 2 broads at the anchor desk. Their goo gobs of makeup and their big boobies and their ugly corporate bought outfits, okay? And I'm going to criticize news media. They're all the exact same. They're all cookie cutter, boring, blasé. They live in fucking snow globes. They earn the kind of money. They're not in these environments where their lives are in danger. And there's a good chance they're voting in the shit in office that's allowing this criminal activity to escalate. Got a young man getting on the bus with an attitude, pulls out a gun and is talking smack to the driver. But notice that even a black news journalist says, yeah, he shot him 3 different times. Once inside the bus, once in the driver's area, once outside. They frame it a certain way. They frame it. They do the thinking for you to push the narrative of, oh, the driver did wrong.
You see, 22-year-old Omari Tobias gets up from a seat in the back of the bus and walks up front, asking operator David Fullard to get off of the bus in between stops. Fullard declines, and that starts an argument between the 2 men. At one point, Tobias telling Fullard to come out from behind the steering wheel and touch him so he can claim self-defense. Touch me. The driver asked Tobias to step behind the yellow safety line in the aisle. And that is when you see Tobias pull a gun from his pocket, standing in front of a sign that says no guns on the bus.
If we know that someone is possessing it.
Standing in front of a sign that says no guns on the bus. Ugh. News people are so fucking dumb. Do the news people follow the sign that says the speed limit? I love this shit because I'll go in with the kill. I lived in Colorado and it always amazed me to see the news SUV and the news vans driving around. No turn signals, no speed limit. I would love to be worth billions of dollars. I would start my own channel and it would be fun. Stay tuned on Pacific News at 9. We will show you Colorado Channel 12 News speeding in news vehicles, not using turn signals. Eager to tell you about corruption that's going on in the city government and this and that, but they themselves don't model it at all. Wouldn't it be refreshing to watch that kind of a channel? I'll bet you the rich elite and the big shots and the Democrats wouldn't let it get off the ground. You got a black city bus driver doing his job. That kid pulls out a gun and then crosses that line. The driver saw that gun in the mirror, and he reacted the way a cop would react. Boom, boom. He loses his job. The punk is in jail. That's awesome. It could have ended much worse. The white guy, and we're going to show this white guy, big, giant, ugly outfit, the corporate spacky suit and tie. Look at this. Watch this.
In possession of a weapon on our vehicles, we report that and ask for support.
That was CAT's interim CEO, Brett Cagle, talking.
CEO. When we have a problem, we ask for support. You know, everybody knows the joke when you call the police and you have an emergency, Domino's can get to your house faster than the cops. You're on a city bus and you got an alarm you can push. If you don't want to talk, you can push the red button in that bus. It sends a signal to the dispatcher that there's a problem, and they'll dispatch some authorities to find. How long does it take? Do you see how stupid news media is? Do you see how stupid our society is? And I'm going to go in for the jugular. Here's a clown who's never been in a bus driver's seat. He sits in an office wearing a suit and tie all day, reiterating, well, the driver wasn't professional. You're not supposed to have a gun on the bus. Hey, dumbass, your passengers are getting on and off that bus. Are you checking them? Well, we don't do that. Well, fuck you. The guy had a right to defend himself. If I had a bus company, I'd call him up and I'd say, come on, I'll hire you. I'll hire you. That's bullshit. And I believe the driver should be allowed to carry guns. Do you know what these people are doing today? But the snow globe media, the snow globe news anchors, the CEO who makes, what, $200,000 a year? You know, city bus rates are going up and up and up. I'll bet you he's making over $100,000 a year to sit there and spew his professional bullshit all day and buy ugly suits and pants, okay? I'm sick of it. Our country's drowning in this shit. I thought it was about Black Lives Matter, but the bus driver's life didn't matter. It would have been better for him not to have a gun and be shot and killed. Then the bus company would have said, oh, it's so sad, we'll pay for his funeral. All the BS. Sickening.
About the incident. However, in this case, when Omari Tobias steps back over the safety line and the two men exchange gunfire.
Now notice, when the young man steps back over the safety line, he had a gun, media. Did you leave that part out?
David Fullard is seen then firing two more shots on the bus while Tobias was standing over another passenger at the back door. Then Fullard gets off the bus and fires one last shot at Tobias. CAT's policy is to not let a passenger off in between stops, but Cagle says it is.
He didn't let him off. He got off. It's not policy. Oh, but it's policy for a passenger to walk on loaded armed. They can start a bunch of. Do you see what our society's doing? You see what the professional suits. You're not supposed to do anything, citizens. You're not as smart as these people. You're supposed to just die. You're supposed to just let the professionals handle it. What are they saying to us? You're a dumbass bus driver. You can't bring a gun. But the passengers can. Do you have a metal detector? Do you have somebody checking them before they get on? You do it at the fucking airport. Why aren't you doing it on the city bus? You're charging high enough fare. We're paying you $100,000 a year or more to sit in your office and blow bullshit between your butt cheeks. This is the same mentality that runs Target. This is the same mentality that runs any major corporation. Profits, bottom line, political correctness, wokeness, can't have a gun, can't have an opinion, don't you dare mispronounce somebody's pronoun. We got big problems in this country, and none of those are being worked on. Illegals flooding into our country, compliments of Biden and Crapola Harris. We've got crime at the highest recorded levels ever in this country, compliments of the Democratic Party and their defund the police. And the guy violated the rule of not bringing a gun to work. If he had not brought that gun to work that day, things would have been different.
To the driver's discretion.
Operators are told that if they need, right, if they believe that it is in the best interest, and they can do that safely, to let the passenger out, even at an undesignated stop.
Omari Tobias is facing numerous charges, including assault with a deadly weapon. And as for that bus driver, David Fullard, he has not been charged, but he was fired from his job. Alicia?
No, when the news got their cutesy little digital shit. I don't watch the media. I watch media here, but I don't. The news is a cult. That whole thing is, they just eat up that stuff. They want to bring it into your living rooms and force people to be divided on the issue. People sit there, that's terrible. Why is that bus driver bringing a gun on the bus? Or why is the passenger? That's the proper question to ask. I support that man in his right to defend himself. I rode city buses in Denver, and I've seen some real squirrels and wingnuts on there. There's good people that ride the city bus, and then there's people that just got out of prison riding the bus. You got drunks, you got crack cocaine addicts, you got prostitutes, you got people. They don't care if they go to jail riding that bus. Isn't that a testimony to how great our country is? City buses, more and more, have become unsafe vehicles to ride. I quit driving school bus because I got vertigo. Didn't have it before. And I went into something else. Drivers that I still know that work there are frustrated. The school systems aren't doing anything about these bad students smoking dope on the bus. I had a situation last fall before I finally quit driving altogether. High school student, a sophomore, stood at the bus stop smoking a blunt. I pulled up, I opened the door, I smelled the pot. I called him out. I said, "What are you doing?" "Oh, it's my ride." I said, "No, it's not your ride. It's illegal in the state of Georgia." And I said, "You're not getting on yet. I'm going to call dispatch because you shouldn't be allowed to ride. We need to wait for me." I said, "I'm not waiting for you. I'm going to call and find out if I can leave you here." We had a new manager at the helm at that time. She was there for 3 months or 4 months and bailed. She butts in. "No, you'll need to transport that student." This is a high school student. Denver would have said, "Oh no, he's smoking dope at the bus stop. You don't even need to open the door. Keep on going, call it in." Not here. That's right. And these city buses go into the worst areas. And they go into the worst areas because a lot of people who live in the worst areas don't have a license, can't afford a car. And they got issues out there, some of these people. And they don't care if they fuck with the driver. I've ridden buses in bad neighborhoods. I've seen passengers get up and talk shit to drivers. I saw a Hispanic male driving the Havana 105 bus in Denver. I was sitting in the back of the bus, and it was full. but I could see down the aisle from where I was sitting. And a young guy got up. They were in the straight lane, and there was a right turn lane next to the bus. And the bus stop was on the other side of the intersection. And a young man says, "Can you just let me off here? I don't want to miss my bus." That bus was every 15 minutes. The 105 was once every half hour. Driver says, "I can't. There's a turn lane right there." The young guy starts running his mouth. "Fuck that, man." He says, I don't want to miss my bus. He says, "I cannot let you off in a turn lane. I cannot open the door into traffic." He gave him a reasonable explanation. I'm sitting back on the bus watching this, and that young guy says, "Fuck you, man." He says, "I ought to punch you in the fucking face. I'm going to miss my fucking bus." That driver pulled the air brake and got up, turned around and faced him. He says, "You think I'm going to lose my job for your sorry ass? No, I ain't going to do it. You want to talk stuff to me, I got to follow the rules. You get out and get hit by a car, it's my ass." And I sat in the back of the bus and I went, yes. The public, our own citizens, are more dangerous than the terrorists are. They're not afraid. They don't care if they go to jail. They don't care if they tear your face off. They don't care. And I'm going to support a driver. Did he break the rules by bringing a gun? Yep. But what's Katz doing for him? What's that CEO sitting in an air-conditioned and heated office all day doing for him? Ding. This is the system in America today on any level, not just in the city bus. Cops don't want you to get revenge. They don't want you to do anything. Why do you think drivers get out there on the road and fuck with people? I see videos constantly on YouTube. I can't watch too many of them because I get so angry. I'm like, this isn't generating peace. Let's listen to some calming music. But I watch these people come down an on-ramp in a car, not merging, tractor trailers going 65, no turn signal. They jump the solid white double lines and move right in front of the truck. And of course, the trucker's going to honk at them like, "What are you doing?" And guess what the idiot in the car does? Brake checks the truck. Fully loaded, that thing can be 80,000 pounds. And you're in a car that's what, 3,000? You're dumb. But you know why they do it? Because they feel empowered. Oh, if he hits me. The problem is, dumbass, he has a dash cam in his truck. And once the cop sees that, you're fucked. But America's funny. If there's an accident between two vehicles in a mall parking lot or a grocery store, cops won't respond. They say it's private property. But if somebody steals something in the store and the store calls police, the cops will respond. If there's a murder in the parking lot, the cops will respond. Our justice system is funky that way. They pick and choose what they're going to do. They're not going to deal with a car accident. There was a case in Colorado, guy come out of a Best Buy. There was a stop sign inside the parking lot. He ran the thing and made a right turn. A cop in, I don't know if it was Glendale or Denver. I think it was Glendale, which is a little city in Denver. Cop put on a siren and pulled him over, and the guy immediately started, "You can't pull me over. That's not a city stop sign. That's on private property." Went to court, and the court said, "You can't pull him over. That stop sign's on private property." Okay, let's pretend there was no stop sign at all. He pulled out in front of somebody where the officer had to brake. He could still get him for unsafe driving and pulling out too soon. But that's what our society is doing. judging everybody but the bandito. It's ridiculous. You did drive a prison bus. I told somebody that. I said, I would rather drive a prison bus. Now, correct me, Rick, if I'm wrong, there's a cage around the driver, right? And then because I've seen pictures online where they've got separated into different areas with the caging, and they have an armed guard on their armed officer or whatever. That would have been an awesome job, but you're saying they're still problematic, and they could. They're pissed off at the world anyway, so if they want to raise hell there, they can do it too. I've always had a problem with society. I was talking about management the other day. Chain of command. Okay, but when you go to your supervisor and she's a bitch and she's nasty and you've never done anything to her, and no, I'm not going to go chain of command. I'm going to go to the next level over her. The games that our society plays with us. Remember when they used to have citizens arrest? That means nothing anymore. Americans can fuck with you now. You can go down the road, be minding your business. Somebody pulls out right in front of you. You have to slam on the brakes and you come that close to hitting them and you honk the horn. Now they're going to play brake check. And you're good. You don't tailgate them. You stay back and then they come to a stop, trying to force you to get mad so they can justify what they're doing. Fully caged with cameras. You know, they got cameras on these school buses now, but do you think that stops these kids? I had a kid in Denver. He asked to get off at an unauthorized stop. I said, this isn't your stop. I can't drop you here. This is not a bus stop. And he came up and yelled and cussed and threatened me, spit all over my windshield, went, had a black monitor on the bus. She didn't do anything. She said, all right, called him by name. You need to sit down. Nothing, would not get up. And I took my seatbelt off and I faced him and I stood up in my driver area because I don't want to be sitting down when a kid is going AWOL. I assume a non-threatening position, but I'm standing up when there's a threat like that. I'm not going to be sitting in my seat with a belt on where he's got the advantage. And I said, you know, all this, I looked at him, I said, you see that right there? And I pointed right up. I said, you see that? That camera's watching you. When my supervisor pulls this, you're on full regalia here, dude. You know what the kid did? Fuck you. Put his middle finger right on the lens. They don't care. These are kids we're bringing to school. They're really learning something over there, aren't they? America has become so unsafe. A city bus driver can't do his job. A school bus driver can't do their job. You can't do your job at Walmart because you got shitty managers fucking their way to the top. And then you add into all these equations that the workplace has turned into a shithole everywhere. And you could be calling the office for not using proper pronouns. You could be calling the office if you make a comment and somebody's offended by it and you didn't know that somebody was offended by it. That happened to me at Durham School Services in Spokane. What a joke of a company. Run by mid-level management, people that had no leadership skills at all. Had their favorites, had their attitudes. Oh my gosh. You can't just go to work and do your job. The companies don't let you do that. Every company has a built-in fuck factor. I've seen it everywhere I work. You're doing your job, you're doing well. Somebody calls in the office and is picking at something. I'm like, really? When did this come into play? And there was a guy at Durham School Services. I won't give his real name, but I called him RoboCop. I don't know what the guy's problem was. He used to be SFS, Safety Field Supervisor, meaning he used to train. He no longer what? He was just a driver. I worked there a year, the school year, and then I worked a couple months, went to Hong Kong, come back, worked a full school year. And at the end of that year, I said, see ya. RoboCop's bus was next to mine. Every day I'd pull him to the yard, he'd come up and tell me something. I noticed when you come into the yard, you got to go around in a circle. And I said, well, what do you mean? Well, you can't turn where you just turned. I said, I thought we could turn that way. No, you can't. You have to go all the way around. Okay, all right, gotcha. Then it was something else. And then he come up to me one day at my driving window. You're done with kids. You've had a day, and then you got to come in and deal with this client. He's not in a supervisor position. We're equals. Hey. I said, yes, what now? Now I'm like, okay, this guy's a problem, and he's getting on my nerves. I noticed the other day you were driving, you were holding the route sheet in your hand. I said, yeah, they had me cover a route, and I had to hold it because I didn't know where to go. Oh, well, the boss doesn't want you doing that. I said, dude, I've done it every transportation I work for. It's legit. I said, I got a hand on the wheel. I'm looking, turn right on 4th. I said, we all do it. Oh, no, you can't do that. So what am I supposed to do with it, man? Listen to this, because I'm not making this shit up. You fold it in half and you stick it under your leg. I said, oh. He says, yeah, have it under your leg. I said, oh, so you want me to do this? Looking at my lap. Oh, shit, I hit a trash can. I said, that is ridiculous. 2 days later, it was a Friday. I'd come in the afternoon. I had a bad middle school route. I got no backing from the school. They gave them in-school suspension or lunch detention. The kids could care less about that. They never removed them from the bus. And they were lighting it up. So you had that crappy route. You work for a bus company that told us in training that the students are our customers. Our customers? No, they're mandated to ride a school bus. They're not our customers. He called our break room the customer service center. That was the beginning. I started to see that we're heading a direction that I'm not digging. So RoboCop comes up to my driver's window on Friday, and I don't even remember what it was. And this time, I can't believe it came out of me, but it did. I called him by name, and I said, you know what? Fuck off. It is Friday. You're constantly chipping at me. I'm a good driver. I do my job. If management needs to talk to me, that's one thing. But you are a driver, and you need to stop this. And I got on my bus and walked. Went home. Called the guy over him. I said, yep. I left a voicemail. I said, I told him to fuck off. This is what he's doing. And I'm getting sick of this. Could you please get your pit bull off of me? Monday comes. RoboCop comes up to me after the morning rounds. Yeah, stay clocked in. You need to come into the office. Here we go. All right. Go in the office. Supervisor says, I think you're misunderstanding RoboCop. I listened to him. I said, no, I'm not. I said, let me tell you what he's coming at me with. And I named this and this and this. And then I mentioned the route sheet. When I got to the route sheet, he looked at him. He says, come on, man. Really? He's learning a route. He has to hold it. Well, but the boss says, no. He said, he's learning the route. He says, he got his eyes on the road, but if he glanced at a traffic light, I could see. But then the manager still tried to defend him, saying, he cares. He wants you to shine. And I didn't say what I wanted to say. I said, no. He's a kiss ass. I talked to a couple of drivers, male and female, all whites. I bounced off of this. And their reaction was me, oh, that guy's a dick. That guy is always doing that to everybody. He doesn't care about nobody. He's trying to get people in trouble. That's bullshit. He's not helping anybody. And I told them what happened. And they're like, I had one lady in there who was a trainer. She said, you're one of the best drivers and you weren't trained here. You know how to drive a bus. We've seen you. I said, thank you. This is the world we live in. I can't just go do my job. You got another driver chopping at me. And none of it is even reasonable. I'm not violating anything. That same company, there was a boss there and his last name had the word rude in it. Part of his name had the word rude in it. And I thought, yeah, that fits. And I had to take a trip. And my bus was in the shop. They gave me a bus. It was filthy. I had to sweep it out. I made a comment to management. I said, somebody didn't sweep it. The boss was in the break room. I said, hey. And I hadn't shaved in a couple of days. There was no company policy that said you had to be shaved. And I said to him, do you think we could have some sort of incentive or bonus for drivers to keep their bus clean? I said, I'm getting into these buses and they're filthy. Most bosses would have said, you know what? That's a great idea. He looks at me and says, well, maybe you can talk to me about that after you shave your face and clean up your face. I had 2 days of growth. I should have stood up and been a man right there and said, you know, that was out of order. It is not company policy that I shave. You got people here with full beards. I don't look like a mess. That was offensive, boss, and I'm going to turn you into HR, corporate HR. Durham School Services is one of those lousy scab companies that bids they had ran out for student. It was Laidlaw, Mayflower, Laidlaw, then First Student, and all these shit companies. And Durham was another shit company. And I did my job well. I had perfect attendance, no accidents. And I couldn't believe the shitty treatment I got from management. One of the ladies saw what was going on. And she went into a meeting one day to talk about other things. And she says, and I have a question for everybody in here. She goes, I noticed that everybody's picking on Michael, and I want to know why. He's one of our best drivers. He knows how to drive that bus. He keeps it clean. You guys won't even wash the buses. And he's taking rags and wiping off all the cinder dust off the outside of his bus, and his is the cleanest bus in the lot. The boss would not let us wash our own bus, pull in the wash bay and hose it off. Wouldn't let us do it. He had some agreement with the handicapped adults that they would come in at night and do it. Well, they weren't coming in. The buses were black on the outside because they don't use salt in Spokane. They use cinders. And the dirt and the dust is black, and it coats the whole side of the bus. You can't see the letters on the side, the numbers. And what was happening is you pull up a middle school, and a kid would draw a penis and a vagina and a pussy and a boobs and tits. And I was constantly wiping off phallic symbols. And one day I said, you know what? And they gave us free rags, and I wiped the whole side of the bus clean where it was sparkling. Come back to the yard, and the driver said, hey, how come you got to wash your bus? I said, I didn't wash it. I wiped it. No, you didn't. I said, want to bet? Somebody went and told management, how come Mike's bus is sparkling? Management came out and looked, and they said, where did you wash your bus? I said, I didn't. I wiped it down. And management looked at me like I was some dumbass. You wiped it down. No, you didn't. I said, would you like to watch me at one of the schools when I have the layover in between routes? Would you like to come down and watch me? Because you're more than welcome to come and see. I had never seen such dope-ass management as I did at Durham School Services in Spokane. The boss was an ass. He was friends with all the chubby ladies. The chubby ladies sped in their bus, had an attitude, and I was there nice, and I was like, man, they got some mean, nasty-ass people in here, and they're all friends with the boss. And his second hitman was an ex-Marine guy who made girls cry when they had to come to his office about something. And then we had a guy in dispatcher who was flaming gay, who was very rude, very childish, that the second in command rented a property from him. And then the other dispatcher was a fiery girl who was nasty and foul to everybody, was some connection, ridiculous. And corporate people, management, it doesn't matter where you go, it's Good Old Boys Club. I had discussed with you in a previous video that I had to turn somebody in. And being that I work in a city that's 57% black, and most of the workplaces, it's a staggering more black than white, and I had to turn in a black woman to the head, and the head secretary is black. Actually, I didn't go to her. I went to chain of command. But she had made comments, that person I worked with another employee of the organization I worked for. And that other employee happens to be a friend of mine. She called and made a complaint. But because that secretary is friends with that other person, she failed to mention any of that. She not only made a complaint about the person's comments and her way, she said about my work ethic and the way I treat people was stellar, boom, boom, boom. Corporate America is killing us. They've now become friends with the corrupt politicians. They look the other way. They're dirty, dirty, dirty. We look at Epstein. We look at these billionaires and millionaires and Bill Gates going back and forth to Sexual Island. Let me be caught with an underage girl and my life is done. But these adults can do it all day long. Not only can they do that, you have cross-dressers or drag queens going into Minneapolis Public Library and reading story time to little kids. They're not going into nursing homes. They're going where little kids are. Public schools are taking students to drag queen shows on your tax dollars. How far does our society have to go down the shitter before men and women galvanize and say, no more? How far? How far? Who gives a shit about Target? I could care less if they went bankrupt, tits up, and bye-bye. I could care less. I don't buy a damn thing from them. When I was married, the wife that I wasn't too fond of, 14 years, she shopped and shopped and shopped and dropped there. I don't have anything to do with the stores that she went to, save Walmart, because Walmart's the catch-all for pants, undies, socks, groceries, shampoo. But why Harley? Why are they pushing this twisted, deviant stuff? I've been honest about my struggles in life. But like Pink Floyd said, hey, teacher, leave those kids alone. Kids should be growing up dreaming about being a cowboy or going to outer space or finding a cure for cancer, not pulling their pants down and going, how can I become a girl today? And when our government is behind this madness, we're in trouble. The only thing I can say that's a positive here is woe to those that causes and teaches one of these little ones to stumble. Better a millstone be hung around their neck and drowned in the depths of the sea. God is not going to wink at any society, any people, any school district, any corporation, any politician twisting the fuck out of our children and their sexuality. You can get away with it right now, but you are ushering in and paving the way for the judgment of God to come down and slam down on this country. If the children are no longer safe, and they haven't been with the Democrats, they've already killed 61 million of them in the name of choice. The media, the school systems, the corporate world, do you notice they're all exactly the same? Watch an evening news broadcast, watch the game playing. The insincere, passionless women that dominate the news desks, none of them are really that pretty. Or the geeky Spaxter guys, oh yeah, that's right, bitch. It's all acting. It's all acting. It's all contrived. It's all prescripted. Got to read your papers. Got to stick with the narrative. This isn't journalism, folks. I'm journalism. I can run circles around these clowns. Yeah, I sniff, I snort, I eat, I clear my throat. Who gives a shit? All those polished people that wear the right clothes and they sit there and they wait for the thing to come on. Good evening, everybody. I could not do a job like that. It's not wild and free. I'm a free spirit. Don't fence me in. I was writing a story that I survived the worst storm on the Pacific Ocean on a boat and went to the Philippines and met a woman there, and we fall in love, and she keeps having dreams from God telling about the next event that's going to happen. And I get to have some artistic license that a tsunami comes off the Atlantic and wipes out New York City, Boston, and DC, and Baltimore. And all the politicians happened to be on Capitol Hill, and the wall of water came in so bad it knocked the dome down and drowned and killed them all. Another tsunami hit from the other side and wiped out LA, San Diego, San Francisco, Portland. And I included in the story that it's interesting how both of these judgments wiped out the coastal Democrats and destroyed their economy that quick. So now the middle part of America is suddenly getting together saying, we don't have a government. Now's our chance to get things back on track. And they finally storm CNN and say, you guys are done. You're done. There's no president. We're very unstable. And before China or Russia do something to us, we're taking control of this country and you're not reporting this shit anymore. Don't you wish something like that could happen? Because that's what it's going to take. It's going to take the intervention of God. The news, the education system, they're hell-bent on ushering Satan. And now you enter this age of AI. I don't even pay attention to it because I know what it is. It's artificial intelligence. You know, the Bible talks about the Antichrist. And they'll make an image. They'll make something. You know, Jesus, there's the Father, Son, and Holy Ghost. Well, they're going to have the unholy Trinity. And they'll make this image. And you know that AI and all this crap is going to be connected with it. And we're talking about digital cash. They're talking about getting rid of hard currency. And the reason they want to do that is they'll claim it'll stop crime. No, it won't. The cyber geeks control it. It'll help themselves to it. But what's funny is you won't be able to sell drugs and stuff on the street. You won't be able to work under the table. They'll be able to track every single transaction and watch what you're doing. They're already doing it now on your credit cards and debit cards. They pay attention to that. I remember when I booked my first flight to Hong Kong many years ago in 2008, all of a sudden my inbox was full of stuff. Come see the Philippines, come see Japan. And I said, what is all this? And they said, the minute you booked a flight on that site, they're sending it, they bought your name and all that. And they're like, oh, he's going to Hong Kong. Let's get him into Asian stuff. Zuckerberg's been doing it. They've all been doing it. Nothing new. All the businesses that have gone woke, I don't partake in. I don't drink beer, so I don't invest in Budweiser. I can't. And I wouldn't buy a Harley. They're $37,000 for a bike. No. I don't go to Target. I don't buy North Face. North Face is another one. Even before they went woke, these companies, they come up with their gay little logos. They're uninspiring. They're boring as hell. And you see girls wearing hoodies with North Face. It's like everybody is branded like cattle. That hot branding iron. Yep, Starbucks, SGV Dog, North Face, Target. We've lost something in this country. We've truly lost something. When I was in Hong Kong, one of the things that I loved was walking throughout the city. There's markets all over the place. No, not Kroger, not Walmart, but individuals selling bounty of fresh fruits and vegetables and coconuts and mangoes and pineapples and fresh fish. I love that. I could go through the marketplace. I had a favorite old Chinese lady all stove over. Her sons were in other neighboring markets and they were all selling. Somebody came up and talked to me and said, I'm so glad you buy from that lady. I talked to her. She speaks mostly Chinese, but she's old and she has no retirement. So she works. I said, wow. I'd always buy my green beans and stuff from her. I said, Katrina Pena, $5 Hong Kong dollar. She was so kind to me. When business was personal, when me, a white guy, can go to a Chinese lady in China at her simple stand and buy her produce and support her, and she lights up when she sees me. You go into Target, you go into these businesses, you got zombies running the registers, zombies in the store. You go to ask anybody for help just about anywhere in America today, and you get an attitude. Corporate America is not freeing. It's about systematic domination and control. It's about to reap the maximum profits. That's why they want to get rid of cashiers. I actually watched the video today. I'd heard of the story. I didn't know all the details, but I actually watched the video documentary on U-Haul. When I was a kid, I loved U-Haul trucks, the old Ford steel grill, the big Ford front end and the U-Haul. I loved U-Hauls. And I'll never forget when we moved to Mammoth, a kid by the name of Dougie down the street, his room was 3 feet deep of trucks. And he had a Nyland U-Haul truck. I was like, you got a U-Haul truck? I had one in my possession once when I was in Colorado. I have a U-Haul trailer. It's stored with my uncle. Solid steel. It's got the fenders on it. It's built just like the old ones for taking stuff to the dump. It was a pedal car trailer. I don't know what that's worth now, but I'd like to get it and find out. Very cool. But the family that started U-Haul, the husband and wife and all the kids he had, all those children turned against him. There was a murder. There was foul play. It was awful. Absolutely awful. James in the Bible says, and I bring this up often to drive the stake in the ground. James says, woe to you, rich men, weep and howl for the miseries that shall come upon you. You have heaped wealth into last days. Look what's going on right now. Target, Walmart, Warren Buffett, Bill Gates, Zuckerberg, Jeff Bezos of Amazon, Google. Oh my gosh. Google, how much they're taking in every day off YouTube. And they're blowing the ads on everything. You can't watch a music video. It's interrupting a 3-minute song with a stupid ad of something that has no relevance to you. Why has Google gotten so greedy? When I started YouTube, there was none of that. Then you can monetize your account and have commercials on it. Greed. And we are in the last days. The greed has become exponential in the last 10 years. The last 3 years, it has rapidly accelerated after COVID ID-19. Wake up, people, for our redemption draweth nigh. Keep that in your mind. I have to tell myself, keep it in your mind. We need to stop being shocked that Target or this company or that company. And people say, I'm just not going to buy there. Do you think Target starts to go, oh, they don't care. This is a satanic global village, one world, Tower of Babel agenda by the enemy himself. He has no interest in morals or God's absolutes. And the closer it gets to his time, the more he's going to rage and gnash his teeth at you and me. Society is collapsing as we speak. We're watching the Republicans be spineless. We're watching McCarthy negotiating back and forth with a dictator Biden who wants to throw trillions more dollars instead of McCarthy and the Republicans saying, no more. They're chickens. Chickens. This woke stuff, why are we surprised? Those businesses never were our friends. We got addicted to them. We felt the need to advertise, oh, Target, oh, Starbucks. They never cared about you. They're driven by profits. That's it. The Bible says the love of money is the root of all evil. May I present to you Exhibit A, Corporate America, Your Honor.